All right, let's bring in Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville to talk about the bill. And, sir, it's good to have you on. We're talking to kind of both sides of this thing. We've got Congressman Mike Johnson and the president both believe it's going to pass the House. But as you know, there's a lot of, fiscal hawks that are worried about this, and there's a lot of fury at the fiscal hawks. Trump is calling them grandstanders. I wanted to know your thoughts on that because, when you hear them make their case, they make a lot of sense.
Well, first of all, everybody's got their own opinion. They represent different people across the country. This is a huge bill. We had Speaker Mike Johnson at lunch today. We talked about the bill. There is so many things in there, it's hard to even bring them all up at one time. But there is a lot of good things in it, a lot of good things that are going to really help the American people. It's going to get us away from a lot of the spending that the Biden administration, put into effect. There's some discussion, obviously, about Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. We'll see where that lands, and also SALT, about the deductions of the state and local taxes. At the end of the day, I think everybody's going to come together on this because there's a lot more wins that will help and affect the American people over the next few years. And, Rob, we have to get this passed. We need to do it the right way, but we have to get it passed because we cannot allow taxes to go up next January or it'll be over for Republicans. Even as bad as the Democrats are, it would be over for us.
Well, the tax cuts should certainly be continued. I'm more worried about, the tax side's one. I'm talking about the spending side here, though. But, I see what you're saying. There's a lot of things in this bill that I think are wonderful. I think it does a lot of good, and I'd love to see a lot of the agenda implemented with a bill like this, and it's exactly what the point is. But let's talk just for a second about spending in the country. If we're going to add 20 to 30 trillion to the national debt over the next 10 years, and this is going to carve out about $1.5 trillion of that, would you rather, in an ideal world, would you rather see the government spending a little less money than this bill implements? Because this is still a very spendy bill.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that we need to spend less money. President Trump said that when he first got into office. We've got to spend less money, and we've got to get our debt down, and we've got to get more people in this country working. And that's the reason he's doing the tariffs, is getting the manufacturing back. We've got to build our country. We've got to grow our country. The American taxpayers, we can do less taxes all we want. We can never pay this debt down off the backs of the American people. We can't do that. Yeah. And so what we have to do is get more people working, more people paying into the system. And if we do that, we got a lot better chance. But at the end of the day, we cannot continue to let this debt just consume us. Right now, we're $1 trillion just paying on the interest on the debt a year, and that's not feasible to keep up.
No. It's certainly not. I want to ask you about this Golden Dome. Hegseth today, the defense secretary, along with the president, announcing $25 billion for this project. It's going to cost something like $500 billion over the next maybe 10 or 20 years. It's a lot like Israel's Iron Dome, but for obviously a much larger country. A bubble of sensors, satellites, missile batteries that are going to protect the United States from a foreign attack. Let's take a listen to the president here real quick.
Ronald Reagan wanted it many years ago, but they didn't have the technology. But it's something we're going to have. We're going to have it at the highest level. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles, even if they are launched from other sides of the world, and even if they're launched from space.
We live in a dangerous world. I'm on armed services, and there's not a week goes by that we don't have a hearing, whether it's the Air Force, whether it's Space Force, whether it's the Navy, whether it's the Army, having something to do with building a protection system for this country. It's called the Golden Dome. President Trump's all in on that. It is going to cost a lot of money, and it's going to take a long time for us to build. The problem that we have now is all these missiles are changing. The drones are changing. Some missiles are now they can go all the way from Korea or Japan or whatever. Who wants to shoot a missile at us? It can come from anywhere, and they're all turning into hypersonic. So we're going to have to adjust as we go. But we do need some kind of protection for the United States. Something like what Israel has. But again, I don't know whether we can build enough to protect this country because everybody is coming up with these long-range missiles that are either ballistic or hypersonic. It's going to be awful hard to build anything that's going to protect 100%.
Yeah, it will. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, Israel has got a very small amount of area they need to protect. I just want to get to this one real quick because this is important and pertains to you specifically. 2023, you put on hold promotions for generals and admirals to protest the administration policy that allowed travel and leave for service members seeking abortion. You were lambasted for this, putting military readiness, at risk. A government accountability, the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, did a report finding that what you did, which was, again, you took a lot of heat for this, may have caused family issues, but did not impair military readiness. So we remember when you went through this. What's your response to the GAO report?
We know all along it wasn't impairing it. The Biden administration was breaking the law. You can't use taxpayer money for anything to do with abortion. They decided to do it. I decided to hold back promotions, and I took heat from not just from Democrats, but also Republicans. But as you said, the GAO did a report on it and said it didn't affect readiness whatsoever. So I'm proud at least the truth comes out. But again, at the end of the day, we cannot allow people to break the law like the Biden administration of just changing the Constitution, changing what the Supreme Court has said, changing things on their own to make them look good and to push across their radical agenda. But at the end of the day, it didn't affect readiness. I'm proud that finally came out. But, I hated to do that, but it needed to be done to show the Biden administration they cannot break the law.
It was a tough fight, and you were relatively new at the time, too. I remember you going through that. Some vindication there from the GAO. Senator Tuberville, thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.